Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on when you put on your favorite playlist? Well, today we're going to plug in and explore the hidden science of how music and our brains connect, and how that link influences everything from our focus to our ability to heal. And trust me, some of the answers are pretty surprising. Okay, so let's start with a little mystery. You sit down to get some work done, you pull up that deep focus playlist, and it kind of sounds like a lullaby, doesn't it? Well, you're not imagining it. And the reason why tells us something really profound about our brains. Researchers at Aarhus University got curious about this exact thing. So they dug into a huge pile of data from Spotify to see what we're actually listening to when we try to study versus when we're trying to sleep. And what they found is just wild. They looked at things like loudness, energy, and something called valence, which is basically just the emotional vibe of a song. And they found something really striking. The music people use for studying and for sleeping is practically identical. Both are way quieter, have way less energy, and just a lower emotional tone than your average playlist. We're talking pop, lo-fi, classical, ambient stuff. So what is going on? Why does our brain want this super calm, non-distracting vibe for both deep concentration and for rest? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look inside the brain itself. Right, because when music hits your ears, it's not like one little hearing center lights up. No, it's more like a full-on fireworks show inside your head, activating this huge network of different areas all at once. It's firing up the parts that control movement, your thinking networks, those deep, deep memory systems, and of course, all of your emotional circuits. It's this all-hands-on-deck engagement that makes music so incredibly powerful. And it's all thanks to this one amazing feature of our brains. And that brings us to the big one, neuroplasticity. You can think of it as your brain's own personal superpower, this ability to change, to adapt, to literally rewire itself. And music? It's not just some background noise for this process. It's an active catalyst. It can help strengthen the brain's pathways and even build brand new ones. So if music can literally change our brain's wiring, what can we actually do with that? Let's take this idea and drop it into one of the most stressful places you can imagine, a hospital emergency room. A recent study at Ramathibodi Hospital decided to put music to the test. They asked a really simple question. Could it actually help patients deal with serious pain and anxiety? And the results were, wow, just look at this. The patients who got a 30 to 40-minute music therapy session said their pain dropped by more than 1.5 points. Now, compare that to the other group, the ones who just got the standard treatment. Their pain barely moved. It dropped by less than 1/10 of a point. And music had a really similar powerful effect on their anxiety levels, too. So the researchers basically concluded that music is a real effective tool that you can use on the front lines of medicine with no extra medication needed. But its power goes even deeper than that. It can help retrain the brain when dealing with long-term neurological problems. And this is where the whole story just gets incredible, starting with movement disorders like Parkinson's disease. One of the biggest challenges for people with Parkinson's is something called gait disturbance. Shuffling steps, or when their movement just suddenly freezes. But there's this amazing technique called rhythmic auditory stimulation, or RAS, that uses music to help. So how in the world does this work? It's actually beautifully simple. The patient just listens to a steady, rhythmic beat. That beat from the outside gives the brain's motor areas a clear blueprint for movement, and then the body just syncs up. It helps patients walk faster and take longer strides. It's an absolutely mind-blowing example of using sound to rewire the brain for movement. But what about something that steals our memories, like Alzheimer's? Well, it turns out music has carved out a special, protected space in the brain for that too. This is just fascinating. Using advanced brain imaging, research shows that the parts of our brain that hold on to our musical memories often stay surprisingly safe and sound, even when other parts of the brain are being affected by the disease. This gives us this incredible, unique way to connect with patients, and even to help improve their thinking. So how do therapists actually use this? Well, there are two main ways. One is called receptive, where a patient just listens to music. The other is active, which means they actually participate by singing along, clapping, maybe playing a simple instrument. And here's the real kicker from a big review of studies. It was the active stuff where patients were actually part of making the music that had the biggest positive impact on their cognitive function. Okay, so we've journeyed from your study playlist to the ER and all the way to rewiring the brain for both movement and memory. Let's bring it all home. The science here is crystal clear. Music is not just background noise. It is an active tool you can use to literally shape your own brain and your own well-being. So I want you to start thinking of your playlist as a personalized toolkit. You can use that calm instrumental music to get into a focus zone. You can put on your favorite songs to help deal with stress or even pain. You can use a powerful beat to drive your workout. And you can use those old familiar songs to connect with powerful memories. You are the conductor of your own brain. So the next time you go to press play, just take a second and think about what you want to achieve. Your playlist isn't just entertainment. It's a really powerful tool that can change your brain. So the only question left is, what are you going to prescribe for yourself?